Now, meanwhile, 2 in 5 women in the UK say that their careers have been set back or put on hold by the COVID crisis. That's from research that shows more than 40% of women have left or considered leaving the workforce, either temporarily or permanently, because of responsibilities at home or due to stress. Well, that research is from LinkedIn, and its director, Janine Chamberlain, joins me now. Morning to you, Janine. Your research chimes very much, doesn't it, with this open letter that's been sent by some very prominent women in business, in all sectors, in fact, to the Daily Telegraph, to the government today, saying that basically the pandemic has pretty much put back all of the equality gains we've seen in the workforce for women.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that COVID-19 has had a disproportionate impact on women in the workplace. We can see it in the hiring rates, our data on LinkedIn. We can see it in the official furlough figures. And we can also see it in the way that women are sharing their experiences on our platform. And we've partnered up with the female lead to actually understand what is going on and what is making it more challenging for women in the workplace. And we found that there is such a thing as an entitlement gap, which means that women feel less deserving than men to ask for things like pay rises, promotions, or even flexibility. In fact, nearly half of women have never negotiated a pay increase with their employer, and that needs to change.
God, it's depressing, isn't it, when you hear you saying it like that. Do you know anything about the instances where women have asked for a promotion or a pay rise? Are they just as likely to get it?
I think it depends on the circumstances and the environment, but certainly women shouldn't feel like they are not deserving of a pay rise or a promotion. In the same way as that men won't always get what they ask for, we should certainly feel comfortable and confident to ask for the things that we should be as deserving as anyone else in the workplace.
You mentioned that hiring is slower for women. Is that because the sectors that have been hit the hardest are those which have predominantly female workforces, or are there sectors that are hiring but they're more likely to go for men?
So I think the sectors certainly have a big role to play in here because there are more women who were working in sectors like retail and hospitality who have been impacted by COVID-19. I think in addition to that, we're seeing that fewer women are applying for roles. You mentioned earlier already, women are not necessarily as appealed to apply because they're looking after elderly parents. They might be looking after their children, juggling homeschooling, and they feel like they can't juggle both. So there's more pressure on women right now, which is holding them back from applying.
What's your view on the fact that gender pay reporting, and that there have been a lot of improvements to that, haven't there? Companies now required to say what their gender pay gap is, but they've been given a 6-month reprieve on reporting during the pandemic. Do you expect that to persist?
I certainly don't expect that to persist. I appreciate that it's a lot of work to pull together gender pay gap reporting, and companies have had to invest their time in other things, such as supporting their workforce with flexible work options whilst we are juggling during this pandemic. My expectation is that we will go back to the annual reporting of gender pay gaps. And it is making a big difference for companies. They are really starting to think, how do we improve the situation? How do we attract more women into our organizations, for example, by offering flexible work or remote work, because we can see that a remote job typically is much more appealing to a woman.
Yeah. What's your take on the Hampton report out last week about the progress in terms of women on boards? Good progress there. Still a lot of progress that needs to be made at the executive level.
Absolutely. I think it's great to see that we are making such progress, but there is absolutely, no time to rest or to pause here. We need to continue to make that progress. We need to continue to drive this awareness, because if we're all aware of what is going on, we can actually drive that change and make sure that more women continue to progress in their careers and join boards and executive levels. So I think it's great that we're making progress. We just need to continue to push because in the last 12 months, we've also seen a bit of a setback as a result of this pandemic. So we have a little bit of catching up to do now.
So we all need a bit more sense of entitlement to plug that entitlement gap. All right, Janine
Absolutely.
Chamberlain, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.